Welcome back inside the booth here at OSCON 2011. Our next guest is Tom Hughes-Croucher, Chief Evangelist at Joyent. Tom, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. First question I have for you, the question I like to ask a lot of people is,
Sure.
How did you get into the thing that you're most interested in? So in this case, how did you get into Node?
So I was actually working at Yahoo at the time, and Yahoo have a lot of expertise in JavaScript. So we have an awful lot of guys who are building Ajax interfaces, all of these kinds of powerful websites using those technologies. And for a lot of us, there's this big divide between the people that write the front of the websites, the people that write the back of the websites. And yet we saw these have a lot of expertise there. And when I saw Ryan Dahl, who created Node, presented JavaScript Conf in Berlin, it was obvious to me that he was somebody that was doing really impressive things with JavaScript, but not on the client. He was extending that model out to the server. And I think that that really struck a chord with me, and it struck a chord with a lot of people at Yahoo. And we started seeing what we could do with this technology, how we could leverage our JavaScript expertise that we developed in building the front end of the websites, and extending that knowledge and expertise out in order to do other things.
Right. So what's the learning curve like for Node? How accessible is it?
I think Node's actually one of the most accessible languages that we've seen in the past few years. I mean, that's one of the striking things for me about Node is the growth of the community. I mean, I've been working in open source for maybe 10 years, and it's been really startling sort of to see this sort of monumental rise in maybe 2 years of Node being a live project. Yeah. And I think part of that is because it's just really easy for people to get in. So I mean, for example, I do a lot of these tutorials, and I coach people in using Node, and working with some of our clients, I'll spend one day doing a tutorial to people that that do some JavaScript. On the second day, they're building a prototype of the product that they actually want to make. And this is the goal of the project, is to take the kind of high performance internet programming that we need for the kind of applications that people want to build today, but to make it accessible so that people, whether they're experienced or inexperienced, can build that kind of program with ease.
So what's the most interesting or unusual Node application that you've seen?
So I think it's difficult because Node's starting to be used in a lot of different ways. So one of the things that's kind of fun is the guys at HP have lent me one of their tablets, and these guys all actually use Node for all kinds of things, the photo app, all kinds of things. The application framework on these devices is built with Node. So that's that's a really unusual use of JavaScript, is pushing JavaScript out all the way to sort of mobile and tablet devices to use as an application framework. But then at the same time, we're using the same technology, to work with clients that have millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions of devices in the field, and write a high-performance server that services, those hundreds of millions of devices from the data center. So it's it's interesting to me that we're using the same technology both on the devices, but also, for these high-performance data center applications.
Right. So last question I have for you. Why do you think Node has caught on like it has? Is it the accessibility? Is it the community? Is it some sort of combination of those things?
I think it's kind of a perfect storm. There are a few things that have really made a big difference. JavaScript is this incredibly accessible, well-known language because the web is successful. JavaScript is this language that if you use the web, you can't help but use. But Node took that philosophy, and Ryan added something really specific to that, which he added a high-performance element. He added a model which has been really successful in other areas, such as programming operating systems, and he made it accessible to people to write applications in. So, that combination of things has then created this huge velocity of an open source community. So one of the things that really strikes me that people like about Node is they start doing these things, they like Node itself, but then they find that they have this big supportive community around them. And to the extent, Node being 2 years old, we have a community where we get a third more views on GitHub of the Node project page than the Rails project. And that's not to say that the Rails project is in any way doing anything wrong or isn't itself a wonderful active community. I just think it really illustrates for me just the velocity that this project has gained in a couple of years, and having that community has made it really wonderful to be involved with.
Well, thanks so much for being with us. Really
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.